Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to today's edition of HR Mentorship Learning Series. And I'm excited that we have a facilitator, someone I respect highly, Chinedu Nzei. And the title of our topic is Identifying Talent Acquisition Needs. Identifying talent acquisition needs. I would just like to read a bit about Chinedu so that some of us can get better acquainted with her. Chinedu Nzei is a budding HR professional with a passion for talent management. She believes work should be fun and more about laughter. At an early stage, she aspired to work as a translator in French language, but sold that dream for a plate of English breakfast. Chinedu is an alumni of the prestigious Babcock University in Les Champs and Brunel University, London. She holds a degree in political science and a master's in human resource and employment relations. Chinedu is also an associate member of Chartered Institute of Personnel Management, Nigeria, and Chartered Institute of Personnel Development, United Kingdom. Chinedu currently supports Sanlam Nigeria as talent acquisition strategist, and in her spare time runs a small home fragrance and gifting business. I'm excited to leave you in the safe hands of Chinedu. Over to you, my sister.
Thank you, Mr. Femi. Thank you so much. And good evening, everyone. Like Mr. Femi said, my name is Chinedu. Sorry, Oluyemi said, my name is Chinedu, and I'm excited to be handling the session for this evening. So we're just going to dive right into it so that we can have enough time to discuss and ask questions and give suggestions. So I'm just going to start with a quote from Annie Mokan, former CEO of Xerox. And she says, employees are a company's greatest assets. They are your competitive advantage. You want to attract and retain the best, provide them with encouragement, stimulus, and make them feel that they are an integral part of the company's mission. So that's just something for us to have at the back of our minds at every point that we are handling employees at the office. So our topic for today is identifying talent acquisition needs. And this is just the table of content. Please confirm if you can hear me by probably...
I can hear you. Please continue, we can hear you.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Oluyemi. And our table of, this is just our table of content. We're going to talk about organizational strategy, talent management, talent acquisition, creating a talent acquisition strategy, and steps to identifying talent acquisition needs. So the introduction, identifying talent acquisition needs involves you assessing what you currently have on the ground and seeing if you have the right set of people to match what the company's future needs are or where the company wants to move on to. So it's very important for us to be able to do a quick analysis, a thorough check-in to say what do we have now, what do we want to achieve in the next 5-6 years, and how can we achieve those goals with the current staff strengths. Now, we need, before you can even start to develop a talent acquisition strategy or even identify the needs of TA, you need to be able to understand what organizational strategy is. A basic definition would tell you that it is the long-term strategic plan that roadmaps the routes towards a company's goal and vision. This strategy comprises of the mission, the goals, the plan, the timeline to achieving these objectives. And it goes as far as 10 years, 5 years, 2 years, depending on the structure which the company is currently flowing through. Now, we have 3 levels of organizational strategy, which has been broken down into corporate strategy, the business level strategy, and functional strategy. Now, for corporate it's more or less like broad in scope and aims to reflect the values and the missions of the company. So okay, we need to achieve these corporate strategies? What do we need to do in achieving that? What are the plans that we put in place to be able to achieve this strategy? Now we have the business level strategy, and this is more or less like us investigating new markets, understanding the environment, and rebranding the organization to suit what we want to achieve or our mission. So let's use an example. I'm going to pick a company, and please bear with me if I dwell more in insurance, because I currently work in an insurance company. I'm going to use probably, let me use a Sanlam. So currently, Sanlam's mission is to become one of the most admired financial providers within Africa and in the industry. Now, we are going to sit down and say, what are other businesses doing? What is Elidway doing that is making them get more business? What is an Anchor Insurance currently pushing to make more, to create more visibility in this space? These are the things that people, the strategists will sit down and decide and say, okay, we've seen this, this, and this, and then we need to be able to create ours to match the industry and even surpass the industry players. Now you have functional strategy. This is more or less like taking it from breaking it down to now fit the, should we say, the foot soldiers, the back office people, the sales people. This allows them to now say, okay, these are your strategy. This is what this is what is broken down for you guys to be able to key into the overall strategy. So that is what functional strategy is all about. Now, for any strategy to be effective, we need to consider features. And a strong strategy should always be specific, realistic, measurable, and limited. Now, when it says limited, it means you have to have a time frame for it. You can't just put a strategy and say, we're running with this. The company has to be able to reevaluate after 2 years, 5 years, to say, okay, did we achieve our goals? Are there things that we didn't get? Are there things that we need to take from our previous strategy to move on again in the next phase of our growth? It needs to be measurable. We need to be able to measure it. Okay, within 1 to 2 years, we should have gotten to this. Within 3 years, we should have become the foremost insurance company in Nigeria. Everybody, our name should be on the mouths of every individual in Nigeria. Is it realistic? You can't just wake up and say our strategy is to become, we want to be 110 in the industry. You're going to have to be realistic to say, okay, we have a Leadway, we have a Hess, we have a Stanbic, we have a Zenith. Are we going to be able to push these people out of this business? Is it realistic enough? You're always going to have competitors. So you have to be realistic enough to say, okay, this is what, and this is where we are, and this is what we are achieving for. It has to be specific. You can't just be circling the drain and say, oh, we have a strategy, we have a strategy. No, you have to be specific. You have to hit the nail on the head. What is your strategy? It is this, this, and this. It can't be, oh, I remember that one. It can't be too lumpy. It can't be too lumpy. It can't be too runny. It has to be straight to the point. Now, whether you are a small business owner or an entrepreneur or even a big organization, everybody needs strategy. Even we as individuals, we actually need strategy. We actually need some form of strategy in our daily life. We need strategy in our careers, in everything we do in our family life. In fact, you need strategy to be able to achieve your set goals. Then we're going to move to talent management. Talent management is a process aimed at driving performance through integrated people management practices. So basically, it is a body of all HR processes to attract, develop, motivate, and retain. So talent management starts from the very first step of HR. Now, human resources, you are managing individuals. It has to do with everything from when you get a new hire into the system, to when the person is being confirmed, to when the person is promoted or even recognized. The yearly reviews that you do for pay is part of talent management, because if at some point somebody feels disgruntled about the pay, guess what? You're going to be talking attrition. So for every circle in human resources, talent management, it starts and ends with talent management. Now, why is it important to organizational strategy? Because it helps to attract top talent that will drive the organization strategy. It will drive the performance of the organization. So when we come and we say, oh, we want to achieve a budget of 3 billion, do you have the right manpower to drive that 3 million? Are your sales force equipped to be able to move that budget of 3 billion? It makes for a better succession management. So I keep telling people that exit is inevitable. Employees will leave, employees will join your company. But staying in delusion and saying, oh, my people are not going to leave, that is a fairy tale story time or bedtime story time that God knows where people got from. You have to, at every step, at every point in your talent management and with the organization strategy, you need to be able to sit down and be realistic to say, people are going to leave. Even if people don't walk out of the organization, guess what? Death comes knocking, and one person who is a key member of your staff dies. You need to have succession planning that will be able to fill that gap, pending when you can now look for long-term resolutions. It strengthens the culture of the organization. It promotes innovation. It develops the employee skills. It even improves your employee retention, because if an organization strategy is to keep growing every year, you need talent management to help you improve your employee retention. It enhances agility and it avoids unnecessary costs. Unnecessary cost is one thing that we'll be talking about when we proceed further with the session. At any point, if you have a question, please just put it in the chat box and we would get to it soon. Thank you very much. Now, this is according to Academic to Innovate HR. This is a talent management model. And like we said, it starts with acquisition and it goes to activation and revenue. However, the roadmap around it is how do you attract talents? There's referral, there are different methods. There's headhunting. It does depend on what measure you want to attract your talents, and it ends up in success if done appropriately and right. Now, what is talent acquisition? Talent acquisition the life of talent acquisition is basically attract, hire, and get the right people for the organization and the right role. It has a lot of responsibilities. It's not just limited to creating a pipeline. It is way more than that. And we should please always note that it differs from recruitment. Now, in today's world, we have more of, I won't say it's a fault of many human resource professionals, but it's just what the organization is currently pushing. So people do more of recruitment than talent acquisition because there's so much in this. Oh, we need to fill this role now. We need to fill this role now. Nobody actually waits to say, okay, why are we filling this role? Why do we need to have this role? Excuse me. Why are we keeping this role? What is the end goal? What is the return on investment for keeping this role or for filling this vacancy? It's more than urgent 2K, because that's what recruitment is about. Recruitment is, can you get someone that can fit this job? Can you get someone that can do this job with in a blink of an eye? Oh, okay, no problem. Oh, Yemi can do this job, or Chinedu is best fit for this job for the meantime. But talent acquisition takes the time to check the organization strategy and then create a strategy for itself to say, my organization requires this. How do I now fit? How do I plug in to make that strategy a reality? It is here for the long run. That is just it in simple words. Talent acquisition is here for the long run. And this is a table just differentiating in quick 3 slots what recruitment differs from talent acquisition. Recruitment is short-term, emphasis on filling immediate vacancies. It's a regular recruitment, volume hiring, and usually for entry roles, and can be deployed immediately. So in this recruitment, we can probably plug recruitment of sales agents, also known as field workers, because they are urgent. We deal with, it's more or less like volume. Can you do the job? Can you sell? Can you not sell? Don't worry, we'll teach you how to sell. Oh yeah, enter. or entry level. Oh, do you know how to use, do you have basic understanding of Microsoft Word? Okay, you have, don't worry, we'll teach you Excel. Oh yeah, come and start doing the job. 1, 2, 3 days of training, and we push you into the role. Why talent acquisition is, it's an ongoing thing. For it could be every quarter, every year halfly, they're sitting down to say, okay, we wanted to do this and this. Have we been able to gain this and this? It's focusing more on filling those roles that they need to have, should I, for lack of better word, filling those roles that they know that, okay, we can fill with somebody else. It's like a chain. It's like a chain of command. So I put you as a strategic hire. I know you're going to help teach the next person. You're going to empower this department, or you're going to empower this group of people, so that we have a plan in place. So for everybody that moves out of that role, we have somebody that fills, and that is what talent acquisition does. It's not just filling right now and saying, oh, we have somebody that does the job. Oh, let's move on. Now, it employs more time and planning. You need to sit down. It's not a matter of, oh, I need somebody, I want to hire somebody today. Tomorrow we've done assessments. Next tomorrow we're doing interview. It makes you sit down and take the time to say, okay, I need 5 reconciliation officers. However, do I need these 5 in the long run? Or can I make do with 2 and have those 2 train the people in-house? That's what talent acquisition does for us. Now, why talent acquisition as against recruitment? Because it will save you more money in the long run. There are cases where we as human resources professionals tend to recruit.
Hello.
Yes, please. Hi, Victoria.
Please adjust your camera so that we can see your face. Thank you.
Can you see my face now?
We're only seeing your head. We can't see your face.
Can you see my face now?
Okay, just continue. Just continue.
So now we can see my face now.
Okay. Yes, this is better. It's better now. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So talent acquisition helps you to save money, because by the time you start to do basic recruitment, you find out that you spend more money recruiting, and you just keep wasting money, because you're recruiting 5 people on payroll of 150K, when you could have recruited 2 people who would have done the job excellently well, and most likely even helped you to redesign that process flow. So in the long run, we should always align with talent acquisition rather than recruitment. Yes, it's difficult to convince management, our hiring managers or the line managers to say, see, I understand that you have an urgent need, but let us plan better to be able to deliver the best to you. Now, in order to be able to actually align or say that you have achieved that talent acquisition that you require for the office, you need to create a strategy. And according to Academy AIHR, there are several approaches that can be used to forming a talent acquisition strategy. But the most common of them all are the 4 B's. And this is build, buy, borrow, and bridge. Now, the build strategy you will find most likely with the big tech companies, the banks, the oil and gas companies. Now, those guys are able to do graduate trainee programs, internship programs, that they now grow this talents from the scratch, and then have them fit into future roles in the organization. Most organizations don't fit into this because there's the time and the money. Most people don't even want to delve into it. Although of recent, some insurance companies have been picking the build method to grow young talent. Some organizations who would never have even agreed to do a graduate trainee program before are now accepting it to say, okay, this works for us in the long term. If we invest money into these talents, these select people, we know that we are able to achieve our goal in the long run. Now, there is the buy method. Now, the buy method means that we go, we source for the best talents in the industry, and we source for the best talents in the industry, and we take them into our talent pool. Now, the goal is not for us to just buy expensive people. Sorry that I'm using the word buy, but that's the strategy. That's the strategy of this this particular point. We look for suitable people that can plug into the company's strategy almost immediately, and their experience, they're the best hires. Now, these people, you often have to pay more money than you normally would pay for your internal talents. And it's usually suitable for startup companies that have money, that are ready to just, they don't have time to start building. They want to be able to see their results with in quick flashes. So that buying strategy works for them. Now you have borrow. You have this borrow strategy more in, should we say, I also want to say that the banks do have this borrow strategy, because you have temporary workers mostly in the banks. They usually work as front tellers, customer service, and it's because they know that, okay, we just need you for a short time period. We don't need to have you for a very long time. So we just get 50 of you, put you guys at front desk, and you guys do the job. And after like a year or two, we flush you out. And maybe if we need more again, we get more part-times to come in and do the job. They are also mostly for projects. Let's say, for example, we needed to achieve like so let's go to consultants. Consultants can be placed in this borrow strategy, because you need them just to come in, run the plan, put the plan into start mode, and then they leave you. And maybe 2-4 months or something, 6 months, you bring them back again to just help you sort it out again, and they are gone. So you pay for a short period of time for the skills that you know that you cannot invest in long term. Now, the bridge method, the bridge strategy would have you looking into your current pool, finding suitable people that can align through leveraging through trainings, learning, development programs that now build their competencies and help you to place them in strategic places as the company grows. So we would look at programs like middle management programs. This middle management would look into the current staff strength, the current pool, and say, okay, I identify Victoria, I identify Rashid, I identify Larry and Oluyomi as potential employees. And so what do? I'm going to map out a learning and development program for them to increase their competency, and then make sure that it aligns with what I'm currently sorting out for. So if I need somebody to become the head of strategy in 2-3 years, I start to train them, so that by the time I move that head of strategy to another higher role, I have somebody that can take up that role. Now, we've said everything, but what are the steps to identifying the talent acquisition needs? How do you even start to pinpoint and say, okay, these are the needs of the organization currently? First, we need to evaluate the organizational goals and strategy. What is currently on ground? We've been saying it from the beginning. What is currently on ground? What are the goals and what are the strategy that the organization has put in place for the next 3 years? How can we help manage to achieve that strategy from the human resources aspect? Now, we also need to conduct a workforce analysis. The workforce that you currently have on ground, can they fit into that strategy in the next 5 years? Do you need to hire more people? Do you think that you can grow this 180 employees to fit your goals in the next 5 years? We need to now sit down and forecast the future needs. Yes, we have 180, and some managers have come to say, oh, I need 10 more people to join my department. No, the right thing to do is to sit down to say, okay, you currently have A, B, and C processes. However, what process will still remain in the next 5 years? What process will have involved to maybe integrate technology? What process do you think can be fully automated and eradicated from your process flow? It's more than just telling me on your yearly workforce planning budget that, oh, you need 5. Tell me where that 5 is going to fit. Do you think that 5 can be removed, or is it a must hire? Those kind of things. Now we need to engage the hiring managers. And I always say that hiring managers don't really, I'm not trying to throw some jab at them, but I don't think they don't actually sit down to actually assess what they think they need now and what the organization needs. So everybody's all about, oh, I need to meet my target. I need quick wins. I need this. I need to remove my backlog. But nobody sits to think, oh, after I hire this 5 set of people, where are they going to fit after they finish this project? Where do I still need them? It's more or less like, oh, I'm overwhelmed. I need more employees. I'm overwhelmed. And then what you have is the people who are really good in that department, you sideline them because as far as you're concerned, a few mistakes have made you say you need 5 extra people, or a few backlogs that could have stemmed from probably a fault in the system, or the processing time was elongated, or there was some downtime in the business and they had a lot of backlog and they just couldn't finish it, and you just came and you said, oh no, I need 5 more people to join my team. These people I'm working with are too slow. They need more hands. So we need to be able to train and enlighten hiring managers, because whether we like it or not, they're our first point of human resource management. And if they don't understand the process, they don't understand how to be able to manage these needs, this talent acquisition needs. So we're only just going to be doing recruitment. Now we also need to review the talent pipeline. How are we getting talents? Are we getting quality? Do we need to do newspaper adverts to get more people? The people we got from newspaper adverts, did we get quality or just quantity? We're often faced with the issue of getting quantity over quality. Recently, I had back and forth in the office, and I kept saying that, see, what we're getting is quantity. We're not even seeing the people that we want. So we're often forced, because we need to meet deadlines, to just push out the CVs and say, okay, sorry, these are people we found for you, or you interviewed them, do they meet? And so you've wasted money over time, because to sit for an interview is money. To call people in for interviews is money. The time that we used to write the report to discover that, oh, these people didn't meet our set target is also money. So we need to review how we're sourcing for this talent. We need to review, can we move it to more internal process of getting talents, or should we use outsourcing firms, the recruitment agencies, or should we just go on our own and start to tell people word of mouth to get referrals, or should we go and headhunt from organizations? There's always that dilemma between picking which one will work for your sourcing needs. Now we need to consider diversity and inclusion. I know some people will say that diversity and inclusion doesn't really work well in Nigeria, but hey, what are we talking about? We have in organizations, you have Igbo speaking people, you have the ethnic people, you have the Calabar people, you have the Kalabari, you have the Niger Deltas, of which Niger Delta is even divided into how many. So you have all these people in the organization. You have people who have underlying illnesses. You have people whose needs may require certain upgrade in your workplace. So when you find, you can't write off a talent because, oh, the person lives in Mushin, or the person lives in Agbado. Yes, sometimes we are guilty of it to say, this person stays in Songota, would the person be able to make it down to work? We need to be able to accept that people have diverse means. People are diverse in how they think, where they live, and in their state of origin, in their education, in their mannerism. So we need to always make room for those kind of diverse people and include everybody. I know in Nigeria, we don't really have a lot of organizations that's speaking to the medical side of diversity and inclusion. We don't have a lot of organizations that make available offices that can cater to people with disabilities. I mean, I tell people that I have a disability. I use glasses, so I'm a person of disability. So is the lighting enough? Is the lighting well enough for me? Can I see in the office? Is the office going to provide a screen protector to aid my vision? Those kind of things we need to take it into consideration so that we're able to get in good people and not just quantity over quality. Now we need to always analyze our recruitment metrics. A lot of us are guilty of it. I know some people will say, no, I actually do an analysis of my recruitment metrics, but even myself, I am guilty of it because we get so wrapped up in wanting to achieve targets. We forget to sit down and to analyze and say, I used to have this person for 10 million per annum. However, I have had to go and hire somebody for 20 million, which is times 100% increase of the original cost. What do I need to do? Should I just settle down and start to source for people internally, or do I need to up my my stimulus or up the way I reward talent and all? Are we saying that the market trends now, the market now says people with certain talents are paid more? We need to do all those analysis. We need to be able to say, okay, last week we spent 20 hours interviewing for 5 roles. How can we shorten it? How can we reduce the time for hire? Can we introduce the use of game-based recruitment assessments? Do we use SATs or GRE to assess, to do screening and all that? We need to analyze all those. We also need to conduct market research. I said it earlier in the recruitment metrics, when we're talking about recruitment metrics, to say we need to be able to always continuously assess the market to say, what is the market currently doing? What are they currently offering people with IT skills? What are they offering application developers? I can't just sit down in my cubicle or in my cocoon and expect that the 10 million that I'm giving my current developers, I must give the new developer coming. Guess what? You will have news flash, shocker of your life, because that new developer that is coming will quote for you in dollars. So you need to be able to say, okay, yes, they're earning in dollars, but I can do an equivalent of this that will match my company's need and be able to allow us achieve our strategy. Now, you need to develop a strategy, a TA strategy. As always, you need to be able to understand, is your organization out to buy? Are you people out to build, or are you people out to bridge? You need to be able to develop that and run with it if that is whatever is going to help your organization achieve its strategy in the long run. Then we need to continuously monitor and adjust. So we can't just wake up and say, I have picked. Guess what? By the time you come back, you discover that what you felt was the quote and unquote the in thing. You were the what they call them, the baby of the industry. Guess what? Another company will come and flush you out. You will no longer be number one, but then you have people chopping you up. There was a period, there's a certain industry that that in 1 year, 4 new companies came out. And then there was a struggle of, oh, what do we do? Do we up our pay for our agents, or do we maintain what we are currently offering our agents? And some people kept saying, you don't expect people not to leave. However, you did not monitor your industry to say, yes, we're hearing these rumors that we have 4 people coming up shortly, 4 new organizations coming up shortly. We need to know what they will offer, or we need to even find or have an idea of what it is that they're going to offer their field workers for us to even make our field workers stay with us. So those kind of things, we need to always be prepared and be monitor and adjust. So before we just end, does anybody have any questions, any suggestions or opinions? Let me check the chat box. I don't think we have any questions. Does anybody have any questions? Does anybody have any do we have any questions?
None for now. Please proceed.
All right, then. Thank you very much. So if we don't have any questions, this comes to the end of the session. And I'd like to thank everyone who has taken time to join the session this evening. Hi, Victoria.
Okay, yes, I'm with you. Oh, sorry, it is the, okay, I get it. That's the question and discussion at the end of the section, right?
Yes, please.
Okay. Sorry, I just have one question.
Yes.
You talked about finding out from hiring managers first if there is any need at all for the role, and not just jump at it immediately. They make requests. Can you break it down? Can you like take HR professionals through how to go about that?
Okay, so I'm going to use
a clearer example of how to go about that, knowing that there are some hiring managers that can be a little bit difficult. Like, why are you asking me? You get that kind of thing. I want this done. Just get it done. How do you go about that as an HR professional?
Okay, so I'm going to use where I work currently, and for those who are just joining, welcome. We are on to the discussion and question session. So I'm going to use where I work currently, and believe it, we have individuals who believe that they are always right. So I'm just going to use a bogus name. So we have a very key department in the organization, and because of that level of importance, everybody expects that the moment they tell you that we're having 50 people for 2024, best believe you have to get them 50 employees. However, the conversation can start at the year budget planning, because it's usually at the budget planning for the next year that this kind of discussions come up. And you say, okay, the company's current strategy says we want to become the foremost. We know that currently we are driving ourselves towards being a more automated system. Can you walk us through why you need 50 people? Victoria, I don't know if you can do a role play with me. Just think of anything in this conversation.
I'm with you. So what do you want me to do?
Okay, so you are the person who needs 50 employees. As far as you're concerned, that is your need and that is what you want. So you just told me that you need 50, and I'm asking you, but we're moving towards automation. Why do you need 50 people? Be a difficult manager. You are playing the role of a difficult manager.
Okay.
So why do you need 50 employees?
Okay. So you want me to play the role of an hiring manager?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So you're asking me why?
You just told me that you need 50 employees, and I'm asking, why do you need 50? I mean, the organization is trying to automate most of
I don't understand your question. I have just told you that I need 50 people. Why are you asking me why do I need 50 people?
So I understand that your department is the top notch and you people are our key players, but do you think that the organization can take for 50 people, bearing in mind that you were just moving to automation? Okay, so let's walk around this, ma'am. You currently have 100 employees, if I'm correct, ma'am, and you want to build your staff strength to 150. Why don't we sit down and assess the current 100 people that you have and see if out of this 100, there are people who can fill these immediate roles, and we can now do another assessment to say, okay, another analysis to say, okay, we've been able to fill part of this need that you require. Do you still need the 50? Can we go like that, ma'am?
All right. But we don't have a time and we need to fill this role as soon as possible. Somebody needs to be doing this. and we don't have the time. We don't have that much resources. How do we go about it?
Okay, so can we look at the current jobs of all the 100 people in your department? It's going to be tedious, but another thing you can do for us is highlight people you think that can manage, that can move up immediately, and then we'll assess how they can fill your need for 50 people. Is that possible? Can we look at everybody's job and see if we can reduce this 50 people to maybe a 10 by making them do more? So we enrich people's jobs. Is it possible?
Okay, that's possible. Thank you.
Okay, so I'll have a meeting with you. So that way, we're not just hiring people. Thank you so much, Victoria. We're not just hiring people. We're sitting down to have a conversation to say, you need 50 people, but what about the current people you have on ground? Don't forget that we just newly brought on a platform that's supposed to reduce our work by half. Why don't we see and check if we can enrich certain people's roles? Guess what? If you still need that 50, we can do short-term employment just to clear the current needs. However, we still need to assess your current staff strength. That way, you've cut the company time of hiring, and you've helped save money. Because by the time you enrich those people, it means that you are building people to move and to take up more responsibilities in the organization. And your automation would have not gone to waste. Because oftentimes you just hear that, oh, we've automated, but everybody is still doing manual process. We're still shouting we want to hire. So it is key that we are able to engage hiring managers to make them understand. We need to make them see that we can enrich people's jobs, our current talents, but we can sit down and assess them and say, what can they do? It's not just fun to just hire people. We need to be able to utilize what we have currently on ground to manage our expectations and achieve our target. I'm not saying overwhelm the employees or so, but there are people who don't even do so much in the office that you can actually bring them out and give them more work. That's why I said that HR managers are the first point of human resources, because they know the people who can take on more tasks. They know the people that can move up the next level. So it's just good for us to be able to. Another thing is, sorry for cutting myself short, another thing is for us to also be aware of where the organization stands, as each department, what they are currently doing, where they stand, and how your process can assist them to achieve more. So it's not just enough for us to sit down as human resource professionals and say, oh, I'm a HR professional. What people are doing in finance is not my business. You need to be aware of everything that's going on. So finance has brought on a new platform that is supposed to help them make payments fast. That means you're going to cut down the job of that person that's always posting and reconciling in half. Now, what can that person who used to post and reconcile do more? Can the person take up more leadership role? Can the person take up a leader's, can the person understudy or even do a job shadowing for a higher role to say, okay, let's build you if you have capacity. So we need to be able to make managers, like, sometimes it turns to fights, but we need to be able to sit down and understand and make them see that it's a whole lot more than just hiring. We need to put ourselves in their shoe by understanding what they do in the department and seeing how we can align with what they need alongside the company's strategy. Thank you very much, Victoria. Do we have any question? Any other question?
You're welcome. Some comments have been dropped in the comment section. Please read through.
Thank you. Okay, jump to the first. Okay, so I'm going to go to Blessing. And Blessing says, she gives a suggestion. Thank you very much. First thing is to audit the team, enrich and enlarge roles, streamline the operation, and hire far reduced number, if any. Thank you very much. That is basically what we're preaching. Adiola says, I would like to ask, please, in these changing times, where do I look/check to ascertain my industry salary is competitive from time to time? So there are two ways you can go about this. One is either if your organization is not ready to spend money, if you have friends within that industry that's in human resources department, you can actually call them up and speak to them and say, please, we're trying to do some form of benchmarking in my office. Can you assist me with your pay? Let me see if it aligns, and just sit down and have a session with that fellow member of the HR team. Some HR persons may not want to speak, but trust me, by the time we even start to do recruitment, another place that we undermine is carrying out recruitment, pre-recruitment, pre-employment discussions with employees. I can't tell you how many times I have found out the pay of certain industries. Certain organizations, they hide it though. They will hide it. When you call the HR person, they'll tell you, oh, sorry, we can't share that information. But guess what? There is an employee of theirs that will definitely come and sign up to say they want to change the organization. And by the time you start talking to them, you ask them, oh, what is your current pay? And it happened to me in one recruitment. We had placed a pay for a certain role, and we thought, okay, we could still get this kind of person with this bracket. Within this bracket, I mean, we're one of the highest paying insurance companies and all. By the time we started the process, believe me, that money we were offering, we were nowhere anywhere the person who was going to come. I kept telling my line manager, I was like, madam, see this money that we're offering. Everybody that we have shortlisted for this process, not one of them is earning. They've gone far. And she was like, I said, yeah, so we're going to shoot ourselves in the leg if we think that we can get somebody with this amount of money. And they had to go back and tell management, see, I know people say you want someone that has 10 years experience. As it is, 10 years experience is earning this amount of money. We've asked not one, not two, but everybody who came for that session said the same amount. They all were within the same pay brackets. It was then we now had to go and push it. Deborah says, during interview, many candidates lie. Yes, people will lie, but at some point, you will provide information. Your last pay package is going to show when they're bringing you on board. Even if they don't see your last pay package immediately, there's a way you will speak that people will understand that, okay, yes, this person is worth this amount. Sometimes some organizations don't even look at what you're earning currently. They look at what you bring on the table. And they say, okay, this person actually speaks fire. Like, why are we short paying the person? And yes, we want to hire for 15 million. But guess what? This person is going to bring on board 20 million. We have this joke when we have new hires in the office and they say, people want to kill me and say, after all, should we paid you all that money? All that money we sent through Bullion Van to be paying you every year is enough for us to even cut your neck. So by the time people start to speak during the interviews, you will be like, okay, yes, if we pay this person anything less, we're the ones doing this person. Thank you very much, Deborah, for that comment. Do we have any more?
Yes, there is more.
Sorry, Victoria, you're saying something?
Yes, there is more. You can just go through. There's one from there's a question from Adeola Maria.
Oh, I answered the question. She was asking about checking industry pay again to ensure that it's competitive. That's the example I gave about if your company is unable to pay for a salary survey with KPMG, PwC, Deloitte, and the likes, you can call up people in the industry that you know that are you are probably in groups together, or you are even friends with people in their department, and ask them to just clarify how much they pay. You can also use recruitment processes to find out how much certain organizations, and that's why I went to the example of saying that we wanted to hire somebody who had 10 years experience. We were benchmarking it at a very ridiculously low amount. By the time we started doing our assessments and interviews, we discovered that what we were offering was way low for that kind of talent in the market. So those are the examples. Thank you very much. And maybe Deborah had said that during interviews, candidates will lie, which I now reiterated to say, yes, people will lie, but guess what? You can actually assess how much a talent should be paid from just speaking to them. Just from the get-go. From the day you even call them for interviews, you can actually assess the type of individual that person is. Yes, sometimes we as HR and organizations, we're acagons. Sometimes we say, no, this is how much I'm paying. If you're not going to take it, please go away. But most times you will actually have to end up paying that new hire, that pay, because the person is worth it. Because the person has actually shown capacity and competency to actually grow and improve the organization. Thank you very much. I think that's all from the chat.
Okay, sorry, I have one more question. Just as you were addressing that, a question popped into my mind. Okay, so how do we address the part where during recruitment, bearing in mind that there are now a lot of platforms that teach new entries, candidates, how to give the best kind of answer that you would likely love. There are a lot of YouTube trainings, there are a lot of them. There are a lot of things that you could do to prepare yourself ahead of interview. So how do you address the part where during the interview, this person is speaking eloquently well, this person is dishing values, this person is making you feel, oh, I have just hit that pot. And then you even ask to, and then this person is asking for a higher remuneration. And then you feel like, no, I must not let this person go. And then you went above your budget and try to bring this person in. And then along the line, you discover that this person, your culture, your organizational culture, and the way this person works does not align. This person probably lacks some technological skills, and then you are wondering, how did I miss it? All the questions were answered correctly. I even did assessment with this person, and this person got 90% over 100. So how do you address this part? Hello, can you hear me, Chinedu?
Okay, so 1 second, I think. Can you hear me? Yes, I can hear you.
Yes,
can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so while we sit down as TAs and create strategies and create processes as HR professionals and TAs in the making, we like to believe that our process is foolproof, but I will actually say no, our processes are not foolproof. And yes, you will have that error recruitment. You will have that one person that comes in and is a complete misfit to your culture, to your strategy, to everything. We cannot. So I'm not going to say that it's easy to actually get out of such error recruitment. But there is one thing we started to talk about in the office, and that was doing informal background check. Going to find out from people who worked in that same company, finding, even if it's as little as, see, people will say, oh, it's not right for you to actually go up to somebody's current employer and say, oh, what do you say about this person? I don't think there's anything to hide. If your employee is actively getting involved in recruitment exercises and applying for roles, I don't think that there's anything to be vindictive or wicked about. The best you can do is say, oh, give your honest feedback or 2 cents about that candidate. I will tell you that has become an option for us, because we've had the case of hiring misfits in the organization, and the cost of hiring misfits are higher than, it's way higher than getting the right person. So it will happen. You will have that one misfit. There is nothing that's going to stop your organization from having that one misfit. However, can you learn and agree to say, okay, for every recruitment that we do, we need to do a form of informal background check. We need to speak to people who work in that organization to say, oh, do you know this person? You don't even need to say, oh, I'm HR. Just say, this person, have you ever worked with him before? What do you say about him? Do you think he's somebody you can work with? But let us all agree that hiring misfits is kind of inevitable. In your career as a HR person, there's always going to be that one misfit that you're going to hire. And I always say that, yes, in spite of hiring misfits, there are actually people who turn out to be, if you just find the right place, the right environment to place them in, they can actually end up changing from a misfit to a right fit. So while we shouldn't write them off, we should also try and go the extra mile to do informal background screening. If you eventually hire a misfit, it is for you to be able to find a way to manage that misfit and hopefully turn it to a right fit. Some people will tell you that at some point that misfit ends up leaving. That's the company actually ends up telling the person to go or terminating the employment outrightly. So I don't know if that answered your question.
Yes, it does. Thank you. Deborah's hand is up.
All right. So, all right then, Deborah. Hi, Deborah.
Hello, Deborah. You can unmute your mic and talk now.
Deborah, can you hear us?
Oh, okay.
Can you?
Okay, let me try and unmute you. Or
okay, so thank you very much, Victoria. Thank you, Chinedu, for the presentation. Though I joined in a bit late, but I was able to understand where you are coming from. And I wanted to make a little contribution to what Victoria asked. And my contribution is, just as we hire people, maybe by mistake or just like you said, it's inevitable. The same way we get into organization not knowing everything about the organization. So many times we do our background checks, many times we go ask questions, we go to Glassdoor, we go online, we ask professionals, what do you think about that company? And they tell you things, and at the end of the day, you feel, okay, it's someone that can settle, I love their culture and everything. Now you get in and you begin to see things and you say, but this is not what I was expecting. It might be in the area, because I've gotten that shock before. It might be in the area of your team. Maybe you were coming in and they tell you, you have 3 people maybe reporting to you, and maybe during your stay, before 6 months, one person resigned, the next person resigned, and before you turn back, you are finding yourself doing the job of 3 people because they're not going to replace those people. And these are the things that you didn't know. You were not pre-informed. You made your research, you checked, but you were not pre-informed that when somebody resigns, sorry, you have to do the person's job for even not. In fact, they're not even making move. They'll not make move until maybe you start complaining. And that was not the plan. You find yourself doing petty jobs as a manager or a specialist in that field that you would not ordinarily do. You wouldn't have taken that offer. In fact, many people are in that mess right now. You wouldn't have taken that offer if you were told that you'd be doing all this, but you were told that you have subordinates that will be reporting to you. So these are the things that we cannot really take out, because when you get in the company, you now begin to see things. And people told you already about the company, but not you like, oh, that one, no, it's fine, I can manage it, this one, no. But you begin to see things, strange things that you do not expect. And this would now mean you become disgruntled, you become angry, you become, oh, I didn't do enough research. The same way we can also hire people like that, and you think you didn't do well. But I tell you, you did well in the interview, you tried your best, but you couldn't just do 100% at that point. Yeah, that was what I wanted to say. Very,
very well noted, Deborah. That was something that you actually hit it spot on. It's the same thing for every it's both ways. As a new hire going to an organization. I mean, by the time I get there, I discovered that people are a misfit for my career goals and vision. You find out that sometimes you see that people who joined in and they looked like great talents. After a while, you're hearing that they resigned. You'll be like, but I thought it was the best place. They paid you the best pay. And you're like, that company is a misfit. So thank you so much, Deborah. Some in the chat, somebody had said, Ibuku had talked about how this kind of informal background checks worked against them. They offered, so I don't have a problem with a current employer discovering that, oh, this talent is good. See, if the environment works well for the employee and the employee accepts a pay rise because maybe they're not ready to move, or the current employer has probably just talked to them and said, don't worry, I will reach your role. In fact, I'm going to give you this amount of jurisdiction. In fact, I'm going to change everything that you do. I don't have a problem. It just shows that that employer actually values their talents. However, it can go sideways. The person might actually just do the salary review to say, I will show you Pepe. Should you want to leave me? Hey, I will make sure that for the next 1 year, you will see hell and you will resign by yourself without a job. So it goes sideways, it's both ways. We had one. So let me even real life scenario. We had one, wanted to bring in somebody. I wanted him to come on board as HYC. Now, they now went, and because, I mean, we don't want to have misfits or anything and whatnot. So somebody goes and does some informal background check. I comes back to tell us that, thank God did they accept the offer. Wow, you people, thank God you missed a bullet. So that's one part of it. I mean, we didn't even need to push further. Somebody went and helped us to do the work to say, you people, thank God. Let's just be thanking our God. We don't know what we would have bought over, but let's just thank God. So it's both ways. Like Deborah said, it's not a one-size-fits-all. You as an employee can be a misfit to an organization, and the organization may be a misfit to you. So it just depends where you are. But like I said, I will always stand for not writing people off immediately. A misfit, see how you can reassign that misfit to become a right fit in the organization. The same thing for you moving to an organization. See how you can play well, even in your small department. Even in small groups among the employees, see how you can insert yourself to make a positive change. You'll be shocked that when people start to see, there's this thing about new hires, and when you see them coming, people start to watch the things that they do, how they talk, how they write. Best believe you'll be writing email, you think that nobody's checking your email, but somebody is there looking how you are writing. They are checking your grammar to did she put I am where she's supposed to put all those kind of things. So as a new hire to an organization that you feel is toxic, you can actually be that missing piece to change or to disrupt that toxic nature that they have. So we shouldn't always, yes, it gets to a point where the toxicity, you can no longer bear it again and you walk away, but we shouldn't always write out misfit talents and misfit organizations immediately. Now, Balala is asking, how do you address the pay of an existing employee who is on a low pay currently and is also putting up a professionalism on the job? And because you need to hire a new talent who's pejoratively higher because of what he or she is bringing on the table and due to the pay scale. So it means that for you to have somebody who is on a low grade but low pay grade that is doing the job, it means that you actually don't, should I use the word appreciate what the person brings on board? And it only takes a short while before the person realizes the person has so much more to offer and the person will walk away. Or the company is relatively priced really low. And for every new hire that comes in, they have to match their pay because of where the person is coming from. So it is two things. They need to do a pay review for everybody so that you don't have disgruntled employees. It's hard. I know people will say it's very hard to say that you want to do pay review, but by the time you go and do some form of informal search, you ask people within the same industry, and by the time you bring out your metrics to say, okay, we used to have this person for 10 million, now we are bringing for 15. We used to have XY, this current job that this person is doing, if we were to go to the industry to bring the same person, we're going to pay ×2. Until you start to give management real life examples, real life cases, they're always going to think, that person is good with that low pay. So we as HR professionals, we need to be able to argue for why we need to improve just by what we see every day and by the experiences we gather from interacting with prospective talents. Do we have any more questions?
Ayola,
thank you so much. Who?
Ayola, hand is up.
Good evening.
Ayola, you can unmute your mic and talk.
Yeah. Can you hear me? Good evening.
Hi, Ayola. Good evening.
Good evening. I also joined this call late, but I also could pick from the angle you've been speaking from, and I just want to buttress on what the last caller, and that's Deborah said about what I would like to talk about is how is it possible for, how can you identify if the company is the misfit or the employee is the misfit? There's a case scenario that I have once handled in my organization that I consider to be the fault of the employer being the misfit for the employee. There was this scenario of hiring a workshop manager, and he came on board after all the onboarding procedures and all that. So he came on board. He requested for tools to work. We gave him part of it, but almost, he has about 6 months probation, and almost every other day he requests for other materials to work with, other tools to work with, like so all these things were not given to him. So they keep posting him and keep posting until this guy became someone that couldn't. He doesn't have the interest again to do the job, because he kept complaining of how the company wasn't giving him what he used to work, and they kept asking him that he's not. I mean, they kept telling him that he's not giving them what they want to. So at that point, it became like, is it the guy that is not doing the job well, or is it the company that is actually not giving him what he wants truly to work? So at the end of the day, at the end of everything, the company has to tell him to go. So it came to be a debate for the HR, no, this guy, why not us try him more? Try to see if he can do better. Try to see, try to give him this. But the company kept complaining of, no pay, that they cannot afford some of these things and all that. So I was at that point, I couldn't understand whether it was the company that is a misfit for this employee, or the employee was a misfit. So I just want to ask you, what do you think to this scenario?
Well, I think that the company is a misfit to this individual, because this individual is way ahead of them. He knows. So Ayola, so let's also, while we are quick to say the company is a misfit, do you know that some talents can actually be curious about what they actually need to achieve, to use to achieve their goals on the job? So somebody can tell you that, let me use, for example, somebody can tell you that I need a MacBook to deliver on my task. Yeah, we know how much MacBooks are this expensive, as in they are so expensive. However, the company is currently using Dell. And Dell too is as good as HP and Mac, yeah, at least for what they think that the individual requires. But this employee is telling you that if I don't have a MacBook, I cannot do my work. And in this case now, would you say that the organization is a misfit to the individual? Ayola?
Well, for me, it's a limit for the organization to provide what the employee needs to work. You
but
understand?
What if I tell you that I want to give you, sorry for cutting, but what if I tell you that I want to give you the best HP or the best Dell? Will you still insist that you want to collect a MacBook from me?
Okay, if the device you are proposing, or the device you want to bring on board would allow me to do my job well, then I don't think it should be a problem.
Yeah, so you see that the individual in this story now might have been a difficult person to understand or to what's the word now? To reason with. The person may have just been stuck up on the fact that where I used to come from, we used to use hammer and shovel. People are only giving me hammer. How am I supposed to pack? Or where I'm coming from, we used to use paintbrush and roller. Here, you say I should use only roller. Yes. So this is the thing. At some point, you start to have, I don't know if I should be using let me use my office. At some point, we started getting new people in the system. And these new people were coming with new ideas. They were coming with very different ideas on how things should be done. Now, it looked like, okay, it was a lot, but at some point, people started to buy into the ideas and say, okay, this person is actually saying the right thing. This person actually is meaning well for us. So while the person may have looked like they had too much, the person was overbearing, they actually did come up with good ideas on how to change how we look and how we work. So it's two ways. The organization can either accept and do a reassessment of what they are currently offering, or make it difficult for the person to deliver. Then again, the individual might just be a very stubborn employee that says, if it's not a hammer and a shovel, I'm not going to do anything. There are people like that that tell you, if you don't give me Power BI full access, I can't do anything. But there's Excel. You can actually help us use Excel to achieve while we sort out, why in the long run, we sit down and we assess why we need to buy Power BI. Yes, Deborah.
Okay, so I want to come in on this question. It's a bit dicey now. So it depends on the work tool we are talking about. So if the work tool, for example, this person needs a laptop to function, and the company is saying there's no laptop, we are not giving you a laptop, then how do you want me to function? So that would be on the company. But if this person needs a laptop and the company is giving you a Core i5, and this candidate is saying, no, I need a Core i7 to function, then there's a problem. Why is there a problem? I have the same issue currently. Like most of these examples are about me, right? So this employee, we gave this staff a new Core i5. Now he was complaining because he saw some other people using Core i7. So he began to say, Core i5, my Core i5 is slow, is this, is that. We saw from his countenance that it's not about the slowness, is about the laptop. So I don't know if he wants to go and be proud outside to say, yes, I have Core i7 or what. I don't understand. So later I said the laptop got bad. So we collected it to fix. Then we gave him, because it's a new laptop, so we gave him a stopgap to start using before the Core i5 will be fixed. Now we fixed the Core i5. He refused to come to collect that Core i5. He's now insisting on a new laptop again, not even up to 6 months, we gave you a new laptop. He wants a new laptop and he cannot take a Core i5. That Core i7 will help the speed, and his work doesn't really need speed. Like he's not even utilizing the Core i5, because we grade the laptop according to your role and what you do. We know what you are doing. So this can be a problem in the two areas. So we need to hit the nail on the head. If the company is saying we don't have laptop for you, then it's a problem. If you are saying, okay, we have laptop, but this is what we have for you, and you are giving excuses, then there's no excuse really anyway. So the guy or the staff has a problem and needs to be checked.
But Deborah, do you realize that, do we also realize as people that if somebody is actually needing a particular tool, you don't even need the person to tell you. The person's output is enough for you. Let me use where I work currently, because we have a lot of these incidents where people come and tell you, oh, what you gave me doesn't work so well. I've been in that position where they gave me a laptop And I dragged myself there to say, see, it's two things. It's either I'm going to be slow in delivering or I'm going to get a new laptop. And I gave justifications for why it needed to be changed because I was using a relatively old laptop and they were upgrading everybody to newer models of laptops. So I came and I said, I don't have a problem using this one. In fact, I like using my old laptop. But as I'm talking to you, to start my system is a problem. So you have to actually move me at some point. You have cases of people in the office, you go and write a full justification on why you want to collect what you want to collect. And it must be evident in your output. At some point, nobody will stop you, but they will hang it over you that you need to deliver according to what you collected. This comes to us real understanding, like you said, you already know what this individual requires, but this individual is being very difficult in saying, I want i7. I can see that other people are using i7. Is that i7 I want? That just tells you that there are some people that you will know outrightly that they're just in it for the fun. They want to say they're carrying HP Elite's book, or they're carrying a HP Z-Work book, because currently Z-Work books are the highest of HP currently. So people just want to say, oh, I have this. You will know. At some point, you will realize that this person is only trying to be in it. It's not 100% proof, but you will be able to actually pick out individuals who require an upgrade in work tool, or even a better work tool from the first day they hit the ground running, because you already know that, okay, your job deserves this, and this. Some people, they end up leaving them and saying, do you know what? You don't need it. We've not seen any proof for why your work requires this much. So I don't know if my own point is, Deborah. So Blessing, you had your hand up at some point. Hello, please confirm you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
All right then. So somebody had a hand.
Right.
I don't know if you still want to talk.
Thank you very much, Chinedu. Okay, so I have just.
Blessing says she can't unmute.
The person cannot. Blessing, please unmute. Okay, let me bring you into mute. Please try again now, Blessing.
Okay, I've unmuted now. Thank you very much, our host. It's been awesome. Engagement has been awesome. I've been listening to all the conversations, and the truth is we are all faced with the same situation everywhere. As a matter of fact, where I work, I'm responsible for talent engagement and employee life cycle. And it's really a hassle navigating through all of these. Back to the question that Deborah tried to throw more light in. For me, I feel that as an organization, you know your economies, you know the economy of your business. And for every role that you have identified in your organization, you also have identified the tools required for that role. I think for me, the challenge is alignment of expectation from both the staff and the business. There are times that, in fact, there was a time that my head of business development made a case for us to recruit a graphic designer. Prior to this justification and this case, we had always engaged an external consultant for everything graphics. So when she made that case, she pushed, and we got an internal graphic designer. Now, what she didn't capture during that justification, I think I too didn't really pay attention to that, was the work tool. By the time the graphic designer joined, of course, we had the laptop that we had designated for every role. He came with a specification that we had to go to US to buy, right? Because the quality of the products or the designs he had was apart with what our consultants were given. So which led to trying to justify the need why we brought in the new person. So there are lots of issues. And at the end of the day, because he has started and we saw that he knew his onion, we had to go buy it at an extremely extra cost, right? Now, the truth is, it can be really tasking for both the business owner, the HR, because again, I received I didn't profile that role very well in terms of the work too, because I got some backlash on that. But holistically is the alignment for me. So regardless of whether it is the employee or the employer, if the need aligns with the job that needs to be done, we must see it that it happens. Except where there are biases or there are personal innuendos that are playing out, then it's another conversation. But for the job that needs to be done and the objective, the goals that needs to be achieved, we have to align them and provide the work tools that are needed for the job to be done. That's my stand on that. Thank you.
100%. Thank you so much, Blessing. Blessing has said everything. You will know that employee that requires that upgrade. You will know it's not just a case of going to go and talk, go and meet IT and talk. You will know, yes. So Blessing, another thing that, like you said, biases, there's always going to be that small number of people that will get their way. Will get their way in getting that work too, because they know somebody at the top and the person signed off. So there's that small number, which businesses should actually, we as HR and as computer or admin asset management team should always budget for. There's always going to be that small group of people who have a way of getting to management. They know somebody at management that knows somebody that's able to fight their justification for why they should buy a brand new laptop that cost us 1 million. There's always going to be that person. But we should try not to do that at the detriment of people who actually require the tools to do the job. That is one thing we should be careful about. We shouldn't say, because we spent 1 million already on buying laptop, then the other 50 people who require an upgrade should suffer because we spent so much money. We should always, it's just like political hires. You make budgets for political hires because it is inevitable. It is 100% inevitable. There's going to be that person who is going to want to have 2 laptops, or is going to want to change their laptop almost every year. What we can now do is set measures in place that reduces that kind of reach, that kind of accessibility, and then make sure that the food soldiers don't suffer in the process. Thank you very much. Victoria says she also has the same experience. Victoria, change your laptop before your laptop will go and crash one day and everything on it will disappear.
Don't worry, I will. Once we have
change
the money.
It or better still back up to OneDrive before you go and tell Steve, you go and save yourself breakfast.
No, we have iCloud backup.
All right, then. In absence of no other questions, contributions, I think we can end the session for today. It was really nice. I want to say thank you to everybody who spoke, contributed, and asked questions. It was quite interesting. I'd like to thank my host, Oluyemi Adeosun, for creating this platform to allow people share ideas and just exchange thoughts and opinion on how we can do our job better. Thank you, everyone. And I look forward to seeing every other person facilitating one day. Thank you. Thank you, Victoria.
Thank you very much, Nedu. It's been a wonderful session. Thank you very much. Thank you to everyone who have asked questions and contributed. Thank you so much, and do have a lovely night and weekend. Bye.
Good night.